Thanks for joining us. In order to support us to produce Clancy's Kitchen, you can donate as little as €5 or $5 a month and gain access to exclusive content. Just go to www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. That's www.patreon.com/Clancy's Kitchen. Enjoy the podcast. There was no woman from Wexford, in Wexford town she dwelt. She loved her husband dearly, but another man twice as well. With me Wexford diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. One day she went to the doctor, some medicine for to find. Saying, doctor, give me something that'll make me arm and blind. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. Well, feed him eggs and marrow bones and make him suck them all. It won't be very long after that he won't see you at all. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. So she fed him eggs and marrow bones and made him suck them all. It wasn't so very long after that he couldn't see the wall. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. See, I'd go and drown myself, but that might be a sin. Says she, sure, I'll go to the water's edge and help to push you in. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. So they jogged and jogged and jogged till they came to the water's brim. Says she, you're here to drown yourself and me to push you in. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. The old woman, she stood back a bit to take a run and go, but the old fella swiftly stepped aside and she went in below. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. Oh, how lovely did she yell and how lovely did she bawl. Yet how you wished, old woman, to see, sure I can't see you at all. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. But she swam and swam and swam till she came to the water's brim. The bowman got a long birch pole and pushed her further in. With me rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. Now eggs and marrow bones may make your old man blind, but if you want to drown him, you must creep up close behind. Woo! With your rightful diddle I with me rightful doodle dee. Céad míle fáilte, croeso nôl. Welcome back to Clancy's Kitchen, the podcast. Well, we started there with the song The Woman from Wexford, which is, of course, a murder ballad for the season that's in it, with Halloween coming up and the spookiness of it all. And a man here who knows a thing or two about spooky stories and stories of mystery and intrigue is our guest on Clancy's Kitchen this evening. Author and historian Cian Manning. Céad míle fáilte, delighted to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excuse me, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
It's a puka. Yeah. It's floating around here somewhere.
It's an imp of the devil.
That's it.
I was going to say, my mother would always say it like that. Sometimes when she looks at both her sons, she realises that her life was a horror. So, so could I be after inviting a demon here? That has yet to be
we'll get
exercised.
To that. God, give us a bit of time before we get to that.
It's a good start.
Just when you thought you were safe.
Can I also say, Róisín, before we go any further, we'd like to thank Lowry, our daughter, who's looking after us today in the technical department.
Who's feeling a bit spooky herself this evening. For reasons we won't divulge. But Cian, it's lovely to have you. And you were born and bred in Waterford City, is that right, Cian?
Yeah, so this is the face of probably 4 or 5 generations of inbreeding. And so both my parents are from about 10 minutes walk from one another. So my father's from a place called Emma Place originally.
Right.
And my mother's from Royce Park.
Yeah.
And they had neighbours that were probably more terrifying than some ghosts and spirits. Because even, I was just thinking there before coming, my mother was born in a place called Spring Garden Alley. Right. So it's a real old part of the city. So opposite where our house used to be, there's the old city wall from the Anglo-Normans.
Yeah.
And then there used to be a handball alley there that was really big in the early 1900s. So they were playing for like loads of silver and all this sort of stuff. But most people would know it now for it is behind what is the Waterford Badminton Club.
Right.
An old Presbyterian church.
Yeah.
But my mother was quite small and there was actually a gas explosion and it ended up blasting out all the windows on that street. So she was in her cot and like the glass just blew in.
Good God.
On her, like, so kind of like a nearly spooky event.
Yes.
In itself. Like, yeah. And even there was kind of a bit of... It's actually a weird story that she told us when we were like probably 10 or 8. We were probably really annoying her and probably to get us to shut up. We were actually walking past her old house and she said one day, in the house next door, a baby was found dead there.
Right.
So, of course, we were kind of like quieting down fairly quickly. So my granny was alive at the time and they were just talking about this girl had lived there with her father and this baby was found dead.
Oh my God.
And someone had heard like taking out like a tin bath and splashing and they could hear like a clunk and the stop of these babies' cries. So there was a bit of local kind of rumour and innuendo about it that they said that the father of the child was actually this girl's father. So during COVID, like a lot of people, we kind of got talking again about stuff. And I was saying, hey, did you ever remember the time you scared the shit out of us when we were kids? And we went and looked into it, and it actually turned out it was true.
Oh my God.
The whole thing was true.
I'm getting chills already.
And I started laughing. I thought, this is going to be jovial. But can't laugh at something like that. But you know what it struck me there, Cian, is it seems to be in all our villages and towns and in rural areas, there's either a house or that's where that happened or that's where that person lives. Yeah. Almost a Boo Radley creature or a character. And it's very common in Wales, and I think it's also obviously in Ireland.
Yeah.
But can we, before we get into all of this, I'm really interested, Cian, in what piqued your interest in history. And I'm thinking, you grew up in the city of Waterford, which is the oldest city in Ireland, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Huge Viking settlement there. Can you tell us just briefly a little bit about that? Because I'm sure all of this has an influence on you if you grow up in a place where you hear all about the history.
I think particularly with my father, Ollie, that he's probably owed a substantial amount from the tourism board.
Right.
Because we'd go on holidays and essentially all he spoke about was Waterford to these.
Really?
So tell people
expats,
who are looking, like there are people who'll be, tuning into Clancy's Kitchen who might have come from Waterford or heard. Yeah. I'm thinking now Waterford Crystal was a big thing, right, in the 70s. So people would have heard of Waterford from Waterford Crystal. But tell people who mightn't know Waterford
so even,
a little bit about the background and the history.
So like even kind of sticking with the sort of slightly spooky, scary, supernatural, like even the names themselves. So like if you look at Waterford, it comes from the Norse Waterford. So there's a couple of different interpretations about that. One is Winter Haven, which is kind of a more tapping into Game of Thrones, HBO, Americanization of the original Norse. Because we need that dosh coming into the city. I like the one Vader as in Vader, like father.
Yes.
So if you look at a map of Waterford City and you think of the All-Father for the Norse was Odin. So when you look at the map from a height, you see the island.
Right.
So it looks like one eye, which fits quite nicely with the idea of Waterford. So it seems to have kind of faded subsequently that we tend to go for Winter Haven. Another one is when you go between the Norse and the Irish, Ford are the castrated rams,
right?
Which doesn't sound particularly attractive. It's not
more
the most
dramatic.
It's not the most virile sort of. You don't want to say where you're from. And then Port Lariga. There's a couple of different like myth origin stories,
right?
But my favourite one would be related to Lorick. So Port Lariga, Loric's harbour. So the legend is that he was this young prince and he was attracted out to sea by sirens, the mythical winged female
singing
creatures.
To them. Yeah.
So I'd say he's probably looking for an intellectual conversation, as you would. And they tore him limb from limb. So he obviously said something that was politically incorrect, I would say.
He said something crooked to them anyway.
Yes.
I wonder where these things go. But going back to the Vikings just for a second.
Yeah, sure.
The attraction of Waterford, was it that it was just geographically now? It was more inland, or what was so attractive? Because is it true that Waterford is the only Viking name that's still... I know there's Wexford and Longford and anything
and
with
Helvig.
Ford.
Yeah.
And Helvig here in Ring was apparently,
This is where the kind of sort of like technicalities come out.
Yeah.
So like we argue that we're the longest or a continuous urban settlement in Ireland.
Right.
Which it doesn't trip off the tongue as nicely as Ireland's oldest city.
Yeah.
So we think the Vikings kind of would have been sort of interacting with that area of Ireland in the 9th century.
Yeah.
So when they were actually building the new motorway from Waterford to Dublin, they found a site that they've called Woodstown, which actually predates Waterford City.
Yeah.
So they seem to think this was kind of like a temporary seasonal base.
Wow.
And they moved further down river then and built a permanent settlement.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of grasp why they settled where they did, because there's been so many alterations over the years. So if people are familiar with Reginald's Tower, you could take that as the apex of the original Viking settlement.
Right.
And there would have been a river on two sides.
Yeah.
So you also have the River Shore, the famous river. But there was also St. John's River, the Pill. So that would have run along there up until the 18th century, about the 1740s, 1750s. So like you were saying with water glass, we actually had an economic boom in Waterford, which is as rare as all Ireland's. And they decided to build a bowling green and a promenade. So the kind of wealthy Georgian society would promenade in the evening, and they would play bowls on the bowling green then.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard then to see where why the Vikings would have picked there originally.
Isn't there certain Viking names that are names we have as surnames in Ireland that came? O'Rourke is one, right?
Yeah, or
there's a number of names, right, that came from the Vikings.
Yeah, or even if you just wanted to look at it geographically, if you go into Waterford, there's actually certain street names that can be traced back to the Vikings. So probably the most famous one, and it's in Wexford as well, is Kaiser or Kaiser Street.
Right.
Which again is an old Norse word. It means way to water for ships. So obviously there would have been ships there.
Yes.
So we have a Kaiser Street, we have Olaf Street.
Yeah.
Obviously a Viking god.
Yeah.
And then things like High Street, like names that we find in England and Wales as well.
Yes.
Can be traced to that. And even if you look at the Irish language, Fuinneog and Margath both come from the Norse as well. So you have this kind of interesting mix of Norse and Irish and Hiberno Norse then. And
I have to pipe up here, just excuse me, but the surname Branach and Walsh and Welsh is so common in the southeast in general, isn't it? And that's to do with probably the Norman time, I believe.
Yeah.
But I remember a friend of ours in Carrick, Watty Dunphy, bringing down a document and showing farms with the names of not ancient times, but back in history, where they were Walsh and Welsh. And of course, that comes from the Irish. Branach, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or even the beauty of I like how you were saying there about Walsh and Welsh. So like WALSH, a lot of people in the city would say Welsh.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have it out here as well, but about wheeling and feeling and wailing.
Yeah.
So wheeling can be feeling, but wailing can it be wheeling, feeling? My father will give out to me now, I should know that. But even our surname Manning, would be in the city, people would say Mangan.
Mangan.
Yeah. So when I was in school and they were doing the roll call, or you had to call your name, I'd go, my name's Cian Manning. And they would say, excuse me? I'd say Cian Manning. I'm like, Manning.
Yes.
But it sounded like I was pretentious kind of.
Yeah. Did somebody say that a lot of nicknames, where I grew up in Carrick-on-Shore, everyone had a nickname, and families, it would pass on down through the generations as well of nicknames.
Yeah.
Someone said that came from the Viking tradition as well, like Longbeard or...
I suppose it would make sense, wouldn't it, if you had like different branches of families and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know the nickname in my family is Chef Manning.
Chef.
Yeah, and his son was also Chef Manning.
Okay.
And I don't think either of them could cook. So,
Cian, you've written a number of books. One is the sporting history of County Waterford.
yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's,
Right.
John Milan probably needs to be old.
Right.
Copyright
So give
money.
us one fascinating fact or story about the sporting history of County Waterford.
That's like picking a child. Favourite child.
One or two then.
Yeah, I don't know, like the school I went to, Mount Science, obviously big tradition with Gaelic games and the GEA. So like even the name Gaelic Athletic Association comes from a Waterford man, a Mount Sion man. So at the first meeting of the GEA in Thurles, he proposed this name, Gaelic Athletic Association, and he was called John Wise Power.
Yeah.
He was married to Jenny Wise Power, who was one of the founders of Sinn Féin in the early 20th century. But what I loved was he actually shows up in Ulysses in the chapter The Citizen.
Oh, I know it well.
Leopold Bloom goes into this bar.
I know parts of Ulysses.
Yeah.
I know the monologue, the Molly Bloom monologue.
Yes, the
We do it
classic.
as part of our
Yeah.
show. But I mean, I would have dipped in and out of Ulysses. I can't say I know all
this
of it.
is, I think this is around lunchtime in the book, so it's probably about 200 odd pages.
Yeah, I was about to say,
yes. Yeah.
John Wise Power, his character, and it's called John Wise Nolan. And then obviously the citizen is Michael Cusack,
Right.
founder of the GEA.
Yeah.
And then, so it was just kind of cool to think, wow, a guy that went to my school actually
Yeah.
is in probably like the greatest book
ever
ever
in
written.
the 20th century, certainly. Yeah,
And,
So tell us about this. Blatherings.
blatherings.
Blatherings. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
No,
You didn't have your glasses on, Rose.
blatherings. No, but of course there's a pun on the word blah, which is
I
a
know.
Waterford
Yeah.
red rose.
Yeah, I was
I was
Isn't
going
it?
to say,
Red
Kind of
rose.
thing?
have you had a blah?
I think I have. I'm just thinking, does it come? What does blah come from?
So do you want the real story or the
Well, I
made-up?
just wonder because it's
Yeah.
it's not that similar to Welsh because bread is close to we call
Yeah.
it bara in Wales, But blah, is it a direct?
Yes, so the truthful story is that the Huguenots, when they were persecuted in France, a lot of them settled in Waterford. So we're talking around the 1690s.
Right.
And I suppose they probably didn't have a lot with them. So they created this floury white bun and they would call it blanc. And then obviously in a Waterford
White
accent
bread,
where we don't really
yeah.
pronounce our words properly, it became blah
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah.
So it's a French influence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
But don't they say that the part, not Waterford City so much, but I suppose Waterford County, that there's a way of pronouncing things like Waterford kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
Waterford.
that comes from the Norman. Is that
yeah,
right?
or well, sure, even Waterford itself. Like if I was in Ballybracken right now, I wouldn't say Waterford, I would say
Yeah.
Waterford.
Yeah.
So again, it probably goes back to the Norse, Viaderford. But like, there's loads of things we don't
Yeah.
say correctly.
Yeah.
Like, I was just looking there. The credit union at home has been updated,
Right.
but when we were growing up, it was always credit union.
Right.
We put the T before the
Oh,
union
yes.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, in Carrick, would you have had Shelly Kabuki?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gallibander.
Yeah. No, not Galliband. Shilikibuki. Yeah.
Yeah, Gallibander
It's
is...
a Gallibander.
It's like a slingshot or an elastic band. The elastic
Yeah,
band
yeah.
you
Oh,
find
yeah,
in offices.
you pull back. Yeah.
We call it Gallibander.
Yeah.
And we have a great sporting term that for the next World Cup in America, we should promote a lot more. It's called canted.
Which is?
So if you're playing football and the ball goes over the goal behind the wall, the ball is canted. So that breaks down as can't get it. So the ball,
Serious?
yeah, yeah,
canted.
yeah. 'Cause,
I love it.
when I
I get it. It's canted.
yeah,
Fabulous,
'Cause
isn't
I
it?
remember playing five-a-side in Cork with a couple of lads that were from Carrick, and the ball obviously went over this wall, And I said, "Oh, cant it." And they were like, "What are you speaking?
Yeah.
What Latin is this?"
That'll stick with me.
And I couldn't explain it because it was just a word we
Colloquial,
always used.
yeah.
And it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Been there.
It makes
You know,
sense
in
to
a
everyone
game,
who knows.
Where's the ball gone? You know,
Yeah.
it's gone
Yeah.
into the ditch
Yeah.
and the brambles, and you go,
It's
better off,
canted.
it's canted.
Yeah.
So listen, the spooky season is upon us, as we say,
You can't
and
wait,
there are
really.
some stories in here, in this one, right? In
Yeah.
Blatherings or throughout?
And I think in Waterford City itself, there's a couple of
history of-
spooky stories. Like even the street my brother lives in when he's at home in Waterford and I'm not minding his dog.
This is Waterford City, a history,
Yeah, that one came out in 2019,
right?
I think. And
Okay.
I won't tell you where the mistakes are,
We won't look for them, don't worry.
but the bodies are there.
So it's amazing in Ireland. I think we're fascinated with the supernatural and the good old ghost story and spiritual. I suppose it comes from the days when there'd be a shanachie and we'd be sitting around the fire telling stories and
Yeah.
people would walk home, they'd imagine things in the trees, and that's, I guess, where the banshee and all of that idea came from.
Yeah, or even if I could, am I all right to bring down the tone?
It depends on how far down you want to go with the tone.
a classic of sort of trashy young adult literature, Twilight.
Oh, yeah, big, huge Twilight fan over here.
Well,
I used to love it.
I remember I read the first book and they mentioned a website in it, the A to Z of vampires. So I said, yeah, I'll give this a look, see what happens. So for D, it was the Darrig Dew and came up County Waterford. So
Well, Darragh being read,
yeah.
Darragh Dool.
Yeah, so there's a few, so there's Darrig Dool or Darrig Dew.
Yeah.
Or then there's Darrig Dew as in D-O-O. So I always think of the Horselips Darrig Doom song when that happens. But there's a couple of different versions. So the county version is in Lismore.
Yeah.
And it's related to, the cool thing about this vampire is it's a female vampire. And the kind of crux of the story surrounds this kind of well-to-do gentleman in Lismore.
Right.
And the kind of reckoning within the story comes at a tree. Right. And the tree is called Strongbow's tree. So it's kind of boxed off there nicely.
Yeah.
When you go to the city then, similar story again, that she lures young men to a graveyard, the great vague graveyard that we never get a name for, near a tower. And the tower is called Strongbow's Tower. So if you talk to people in West Waterford about the Lismore story, there's no such thing as Strongbow's tree. If you talk to the city, there's no such thing as Strongbow's Tower.
Right.
But there was an English cleric in the late 19th, early 20th century called Montague Summers. So do you remember Olivia Newton-John in Greece?
Yeah.
Yes.
As when she's Sandy before the leather and all that.
Yeah.
He had that haircut before her. It was kind of a mullet and a perm.
All in one.
A good 60 years, I would say, before Olivia Newton-John could rock it. But he actually did a book called Witches, Werewolves and Vampires. And he did a bit of digging into the Darrig Dew. And he said about the Strongbow's Tower version of it, that he felt it was related to Reginald's Tower. Because in Waterford, where Strongbow would have stayed.
Yeah.
And it subsequently became a mint and it was a prison then afterwards in the 19th century. So he was speaking to a local, I suppose, antiquarian. Grattan Flood was his name.
Can I stop you just for a second? Because I'm trying. It's coming as you're talking. I'm thinking. So Strongbow married
Aoife. Yeah.
And I remember as a child hearing, going to Reginald's Tower and hearing that on the day of her wedding there was such an uprising in the city that the hem of her wedding dress was covered in blood as she was walking towards the tower. Does that make any sense at all?
Well,
where was she?
I wouldn't rule it out. Because it's like even the age difference there is a bit
it's all very,
unsettling as well, as in he's very much an older man and she's like a young teenager.
That's how they settle things then. I'll give you my daughter if you give me land.
Good old Dermot McMurrough.
That's
Leinster. Yeah. Leinster rugby before we even needed Johnny Sexton. Target of hatred. But
it goes a long way back.
Yes, that animosity.
So sorry, but go on with your story.
So he was chatting, Montague Summers was chatting with Grattan Flood trying to find out about this vampire, and it's not as kind of like sexy as Twilight in the end. So Grattan Flood said when the Anglo-Normans, led by Strongbow, came to Waterford, among their arsenry and their luggage and baggage was a frog. So in a grassy meadow outside the city, the indigenous Irish saw this creature for the first time. And
because we don't have frogs
they didn't,
as such in Ireland, did we? Or is that the idea that we didn't have
You're
frogs?
thinking
I
about
think so.
snakes and St.
I'm
Patrick.
thinking about snakes.
Yeah,
but
but obviously,
frogs. Sorry,
but
forget
obviously there
that.
must be something to it, though, because they didn't know what to call
Maybe
it.
it's a certain type of frog.
Yeah, they were just like, what do we call this? So they called it a bloodsucker, a Darragh too.
Really?
And then it developed into this female vampire to terrify children for decades to come.
And it came from a frog.
It came from a frog.
The naming of it.
Yeah. So
What is frog in Irish, by the way?
What is frog in Irish?
I actually don't know.
I know
give
in
it in
Welsh. In
Laurie,
Welsh, it's
I know in
broga.
Welsh.
Broga.
It's broga.
Yeah.
Which brogue in Irish is shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a
What is
connection
it
there.
in we'll have to figure that out. We should know this, but we don't.
This one for the Google machine.
There is, isn't
And
it?
then go on, Laurie.
You want me to look it up? Okay.
Yeah, Google
Yeah.
Translate.
Yeah.
And then you can look.
You
all
had
cool.
no. We Róisín.
Laurie can have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Broga.
Actually, I remember.
Yeah. Come back to me.
But I wonder if it's close to broga.
No,
Brogue.
it isn't. No, it's Fronog or it's something. No, it's not.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
It's
doesn't it?
not.
Do you have it, Laurie?
It's not broga. The different
It
meaning.
says here
in it.
that it's either Luscon and Frugga,
Yeah.
Froga.
which sounds like Frugga.
It sounds like
Yeah,
frog
that's
as well.
like it to me.
But maybe frog is, a lot of
Or a
Irish and
breakdown.
Welsh words have a Latin base, so maybe might go
Yeah,
back to that. Yeah.
You
So-
had an interesting story. Sorry, Ryland. Go on.
No, it's just interesting, that this story made it to worldwide attention in ways when you were looking at modern stuff.
Yeah, I think it's because it kind of appeals to so many different aspects that it's, tend with folklore and history that we tend to kind of look at more male stories,
Yeah.
patriarchal stories, where it's the idea of the woman being central to it. There's actually another legend that the frog is buried in Reginald's Tower. And I know they've dug up the floor there 4 or 5 times to get new heating in. They haven't found the frog as yet. But hopefully
But you said the
in a couple
female,
of years.
yeah, the female element possibly is quite prevalent in Celtic tradition because back in Wales we have a lot of female characters in our spooky stories or folklore, like the Lady of the Lake. I don't know if you ever heard of that in the Black Mountains in West Wales, and it's the story quickly of a shepherd or a young farmer seeing a woman coming out of the lake, and to cut the story short, he ends up marrying her, but she's from another world, you see.
Oh, okay.
It's a
And
bit like
she
the
gives
Selkie.
him-
Is that like the Selkie?
Well, she gives him this ultimatum, basically. I'll come and live with you, and she's the most beautiful woman, etc. And on the condition that if you strike me 3 times, I will return to the lake. And they had the joyous life and the idyllic life. And there were 3 events. One was at a christening where she appeared startled and he was annoyed. So he basically struck her. And she said, that's the first time. And then they went to, I can't remember the chronology, but they went to a wedding and she started crying. Again, it annoyed him and he struck her. 3rd time in a funeral and she burst out into laughter. And he wasn't having any of it. It's terrible, isn't it? He gave him a clout, basically. And she said, that's the 3rd time. And she returned to the lake, Llyn y Fan Fach, in the Black Mountain, if you're ever there, close to Llandelo. But she took all the cattle and all his belongings, the ploughs and everything, returned to the lake with her. But, again, a female character.
Yeah.
And just came to me now, we have, similar to the Banshee, we have we called the laddie wen, the white lady. And I remember as a kid, people, what's your dear laddie wen? What?
Laddie wen.
That's the strength of our folklore. It's not for our history books, although that's important, and archives, because we can access these things. But that they have a resonance and a place in our lives today, I think. Cian,
She actually just, when you were describing that story there, reminded me, I came across a John Moriarty quote recently that I'm going to butcher, but it was something along the lines that music sort of tries to translate where language can't bring us. So that you can like cover stuff that has been kind of written out of history.
It's like listening to, we had David Power on, and you listen to the uilleann pipes, and ever since I first heard Finbar Fury and Davy Spillane play these haunting airs, they just do something to you like no other instrument, in my opinion. And especially with great Irish airs, they have that effect on us,
Or as I said at the beginning, the murder ballads, you look at where did that come from? And again, I think it was maybe something around in days where people couldn't read or write, and stories would travel from one village to the next. And of course, people love the macabre, something horrific, or, there was a murder. And it would probably, take on arms and legs before, it got vastly exaggerated before it went from one place to the next.
But some were graphic. It
Very
comes
graphic.
full circle from your story about the house and the baby dying, which is tragic, obviously. But the Irish folk song, Wheelia.
I was just
Wheelia
thinking that.
Wall,
There was an old woman who lived in the woods, a wheelia, wall, yeah. There was an old, do you know that?
I do,
Who lived in the woods, sing it.
No, I
Down
can't
by
sing
the
it. I don't
river
even know.
fall,
yeah.
It's desperate.
But
So she had a baby.
if that came on, everyone would join in though.
Yeah, they would.
I'd be really happy.
And you're
doing
doing a
it,
pub
yeah.
or something, and Ronnie Drew's voice is heard, and they stick the knife in the baby's head. You know. But you don't think, do you? That how really vicious these songs could
and
be.
I'm wondering how many of those
Graphic,
were the women were portrayed as the villains as well.
Woman
Like
of
in that one, the
Wexford.
old woman who lived in the woods, and the old woman from Wexford. Now, mind you, I guess in that one the husband did get the upper hand. So who's really the murderer in that case?
But sometimes, we performed that in Wexford, and you'd have a few people going, that's a terrible song in today's context. But you can't look at it like that.
No.
It's the same. I thought someone who put it beautifully was Stephen Fry when he's talking about nursery rhymes and old stories, Little Red Riding Hood or whatever.
Yeah,
they
the
would
Brothers
be.
Grimm and all that.
The Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
And people would say, well, they don't have a place today in our society. They're too graphic or they're too violent. But that was the point, wasn't it? Don't walk in the woods on your own. When you're a child. And the only way to depict that and make the point was through these stories.
Well, there was that, but I'm guessing there was also a bit of kind of titillation with it as well. They were the tabloids of the day as well.
Well, if you come to a house in the woods and it's made out of sweets and chocolates, who's not going to eat it? You know what I mean?
Well, that or you have to check what you ate last night or what you consumed.
So go on, give us a good old-fashioned ghost story of County Waterford.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was actually going to tell you about the one that's just down the street from my brother's house.
Okay, go on.
Getting close now.
My brother did up my father's family home, Toy Street, 79 Toy Street. So if anyone is looking for money, don't knock. But just down the road, there used to be a lane called Costello's Lane. And this is going back to around 1892. And there was a man called Kinlough, Kinlough.
Right.
And he had been an RIC officer.
Royal Irish Constabulary.
Yeah, Royal Irish Constabulary. So a very popular
when we were
man.
still under British rule.
Yeah. So he actually even had a more disdainful job. He had, there was a property in Carriglea, which is kind of between Passage and Waterford City. And the Marquis of Waterford decided to evict a farmer. So he put Kinlough in the property. So he was known as an emergency man. So him and all his family were there. But all these weird events started happening. So there was all these loud noises, like the trashing of like ploughs and tractors, and this went on for 2 or 3 nights. And we don't know immediately why they then move into Costello's Lane, but it's revealed subsequently. So looking at the papers at the time, we learned that the property they are staying in the city would have been well known. It would have been used for another very topical reason, elections. It was a polling station. And again, we have these witness statements from neighbours. So it would have been like Costello's Lane, Doyle Street, that they witnessed banging on the front door and the back door, but no one there, but simultaneous banging at the same time. So Kinloch had come out and kind of, who dare disturbs me, in a polite way, I'd imagine. And they said there's no one there. So this goes on for another few nights. And then we kind of learn why they had left Carrigley to come to the city, that one of his children is in the kitchen and casually goes to the mother, Mrs. Kinloch, and says, Mammy, the headless man is in the kitchen again, which would sober you up.
Look at my arm.
Reminds me of Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Remember we were younger, the headless coachman.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That scared me.
That is terrifying.
Oh, the fact that she said it.
So have you, or have any of you, ever experienced a real life situation of something where you were spooked or experienced something?
I'm going to go last.
I know you have. As I was
last.
saying at Ryland, I was thinking.
Oh, I get
I know
all
you have.
uncomfortable though.
Yeah, go on. And it was in this house,
I'm not
right?
going to tell you. I'll wait.
It was in this house, is it?
It was
We'll
in
say
this
that.
house.
This
This is my great grandmother's cottage.
Yeah.
Go on, Ryland.
Yeah,
tell
go
the
on.
story.
We'll ask you all. Have you anything, Lodi?
Well, yeah, no, I just think about that scary story about this house.
Yeah.
Is it the one you're thinking of?
Have you a story? To join up. This is a bit hilarious, but really freaky. You talked about the frog.
Right. The frog man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
This is so bizarre and it makes no sense and it sounds completely nuts, right?
Yeah, sorry.
But when we were kids, so
Don't laugh.
we grew up in Carrick-on-Shore. But my mother is from Ring here, so we'd come down every Sunday to Ring. And I remember, so we'd leave late sometimes of a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And the drive back to Carrick-on-Shore is passing the Cumra Mountains there. And as kids, you'd be half asleep in the back of the car. And I remember I perked up because my mother and father were talking, going, "What is that? What is that? Is that someone in costume? What's going on?" And we as kids went, "What? And I remember looking out the back window of the car and what I can only describe as like a frogman, a toad, upright, walking on the road but looked like a frog.
Like big? Like
Yes.
a big? Like sort of 6 foot?
I don't know, as a child, everything is big. But there was never, and I remember my parents kind of hushing it up and going, "Oh, no, it's probably just somebody, in costume, or it's a fancy dress."
But
I remember
point
that
is,
feeling of fear,
Yeah.
that, or confusion, or what the hell.
And the
is
place,
that?
the thing is, it's at the place which is most lonely, solitude.
Especially back then, there
where
would be
the
cars.
lay-by is for the walks up to Cumshanon and the centre point almost
very
between
isolated.
Carrick and Ring or Dungarvan or Lemmy Bryan, It's a sort of lonely spot, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And every time I pass there, after you told me that story, I
Think of
think,
the frog
I
man.
wonder if he's around tonight, jumping around.
Is he wearing trousers?
Do you have anything that's happened to you?
Jesus, no. Not that's like, not that substances haven't been within my system. I think you might have had it. I think it's like around our generation. The Mothman. Have you ever had that?
The Mothman
Never heard of that,
prophecies.
actually.
Yeah, I remember having a vivid dream of the Mothman, and that.
Remembered something.
It was-
Really?
yeah. I felt so real.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's something that's an area of northeast the United States, I think. Not
Yes.
Pennsylvania, but
Yeah.
that sort of region, I believe.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, I remember someone we knew
Yeah.
visiting here from America. And he was driving on a highway
Yeah.
in the northeast of America, possibly around Pennsylvania or the Appalachians. And for some reason,
Mountains again.
he took
Yeah.
a turning off the freeway, the motorway. And it was as if subconsciously this was happening. And he took another turn and another turn, and suddenly found himself in a very back of beyond, in the mountains, in the forest kind of situation.
Yeah,
He said,
pure isolation.
what? Yeah, pure isolation. And he said, how did I get here? Why did I get off the freeway, off the motorway in the first place? And then he started getting lost, and it's getting like dirt track, and it's getting a bit scary now, he thought. But he drove on, and it took him an age to get out of there. And then he saw some signs and followed them, and then finally got on to the motorway to get home.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was home, he did a bit of research. What is it about that area? Because it felt like I was turning off the road, in
Like as if he
automatic
was
pilot.
Like a
Bewitched by
magnetic
something.
kind of, yeah.
Like he didn't have control over, like something was leading
pulled
him
it.
there.
Yeah, and he was digging into it, and he found the only thing he could find was about that area was it was the area that was famous for the Mothman prophecies.
Wow.
That just came to me now.
Wow. There definitely has to be something.
There is.
To
I'd be skeptical. I'd be openly skeptical, but inside I still salute magpies and stuff like that. I'm a total hypocrite.
But go on,
know?
you have to give the story in this house.
Okay, I thought I heard something there now, right?
Just
So
now.
So I don't know if I should tell this story because you see, I'd be skeptical, but I don't want to draw anything on me from the past. But I will tell you a story.
It involved Chanot singing, as I remember.
Yeah, but
didn't it?
here's the thing also. The good question to ask is why are the Irish and maybe the Welsh too so interested in this? And it's you're of a younger generation. I was driving home with a colleague of mine last night. It was stormy. And we were on the Clonmel Road from Clonmel to Dungarvan. And I was
that in
telling...
itself is spooky.
It is. And I was telling him that we were going to do this podcast. And we started telling ghost stories like this. And he's half my age, he's in his 20s, you know. And he had a real appetite. A shout out to Shawnee Lanigan. But we started, he told me a great story from Cork. And I was going, that's, again, the goosebumps. But then I told him, do you know what? Something happened in our house in Ring. And I've never had a bad feeling here.
Yeah.
But years ago, I used to sing in a band called Carouse, doing weddings and stuff with my friend Hugh Carroll. And we'd drive home very late from places like Galway, and you wouldn't get in the door maybe to 3 or 4 in the morning. And one night, Róisín had gone to Carrick with the girls, so the house was empty. And I walked in to this very room, and I sat in the corner there, close to where Laurie is, just sitting there. And you couldn't go to bed immediately. Because it's, your brain has been playing music and stuff. And I sat down and I just relaxed and it was so quiet. And then suddenly I could hear, faintly at first, what I can only describe as the voice of a child singing in a style which I could only say was Chanot's. I'd heard
No,
Chanot's.
I didn't know it was a child's voice. That's so eerie.
Oh, it was.
thought
It
it
was
was
a
an
young voice.
There's something unsettling about
But it
nursery rhymes.
wasn't only the music style, but there were words. Do you hear that, Tim?
They're listening now.
That's her. All right. But there were words, and I didn't understand them because I think they were in Irish.
Yeah.
And all I could
It was
hear,
very faint.
it
you
was
said.
just
Really faint.
from over your shoulder there, Róisín, towards the door.
I'm
That's
waiting
where
for
it was
someone
coming
to touch me on
from.
the shoulder
And
now.
it was like... something like that. I was like, I wasn't afraid for some reason. It was just, what the heck is that? That's so weird.
Yeah.
And it went on. And I've sat there by Laurie and I decided, what is that? I'm going to go over to the door. And I walked over to that door behind Róisín's shoulder. And then suddenly it switched. It was now back to where Laurie is there.
Wow.
And I looked back and it just, as if it had jumped over me. And I stood there listening to this music, but it was geographical. It wasn't.
That's fascinating.
And I just thought,
I
and
don't
then
think I'd be scared by that.
I would.
and then it went.
I think it's intriguing.
But the singing went on for about 30 seconds, and like a puff of smoke, it was taken away like by a wind in autumn. It was just faded away, and I just went, "Wow, that is incredible."
And were you conscious at the time? This is.
I knew there were so many women in your family, and
Yeah.
you know,
It was my
I was the first man in
great-grandmother
this
and her
house for
daughters.
many years. What's this Welshman doing here? We gotta scare him.
Get him out.
But I remember,
Jesus.
but I wasn't. You know, usually when things happen, people say, "Oh, I was terrified." Sometimes you're just going, "What's going on here? This is weird," you know. But I think I did all the things, like I was blowing my nose and trying to clear my ears because I thought, oh, the music. But we were playing 2 hours ago was modern music and drums and bass. So, and this was Sean-Nós, definitely. But I wasn't afraid. But it made me feel something, and I think this has a resonance and it's true of our traditions. It comes from solitude or loneliness or people alone in a room. And the imagination's been free, I think. And it does make me, I don't know any Sean-Nós songs, but there's an old Welsh folk song which is about loneliness. And it's a typical theme of the summer's going and we're going into the long winter.
Yeah.
And it's called Beth yw'r haf I mi, what is the summer to me? And it goes...
Yeah, go on, sing it. Give us a
Beth yw'r haf I mi, dim ond geallwm a dagrau'n lli. Pan gollais di, nid yw hirddydd haf yn ddim I mi. Gariad bach cilion ffôl, dweda ddoi di eto nôl. Nid yw'r haf I mi, and ddim ond herlwm, pan gollais di. That's the best of it anyway.
That's
you know? But it made me think of,
It is, yeah,
because
you
I was
can kind of
alone,
feel it on
you
your
know?
chest.
I was alone. And that song is about what is the summer to me? Only the dreaded winter and floods of tears since I lost you. Do you hear the summer months are nothing to me now? It's longing for summer, the darkness of winter. Those things are always in our cultures and traditions.
What is it
folklore.
in the Celtic spirit that draws us to all of this?
Yeah, well, you talk about the laddie wen, the banshee.
Yes.
Banshees, the fairies are a big thing in Ireland, aren't they?
You, the she, yeah. I'm reading. You put me onto it. The Stand,
Stephen King.
by Stephen King. You know, and it's taken me a while to get into it. There's so many different characters. You're like, who's this again now? But I thought I was reading it last night, and I thought, God, his fascination, you know, and he's the storytelling element. I thought, I wonder if there's any is he of Celtic origin? You know, And so I looked it up, and sure enough, you know, he's Scotch.
He's Welsh.
No, he's not. No, the Welsh don't come into it.
Because he lives in
Scot-Irish. He's of Scottish-Irish
yeah, he lives in
descent.
Bangor. Is it Bangor, Maine?
Yeah,
or
in
something like
Bangor,
that?
Maine. Yeah.
But that area, you see, isn't it? You know, Salem and a lot of really interesting
Witches
places.
and all
And
of
all
that.
these.
Have you been to Salem?
I have actually.
have.
Have you?
Yeah, it was
Go on, tell
there
us.
about about 2019. I remember when that came out. We went over for a Manning family reunion.
Oh, really?
So it was the first time the Irish had
Yeah.
come over for it, and we decided to go to Salem. And it was around Halloween, so they had all the freaky stuff up. But when you pass that graveyard there, that you really do pick up I don't know, is it like an energy or vibe or
100%.
The witches and the famous play by Arthur Miller, of course.
Yeah.
But also Stephen King.
Stephen
Salem's Lot.
King.
I remember seeing that film for the first time, and the best vampire, the master that I ever saw, because I remember seeing when he got, came out of the coffin, and I was quite young. I was petrified.
Yeah, I actually only watched that recently.
Really?
Yeah,
Did
I watched,
you?
Lawrence, the chap we know.
Yes.
I went to his house to watch it. He had it on DVD.
Yeah.
And just like a classic cast, James Mason is so good and his stuff as well.
David Soul.
Yes, David Soul, yeah.
But also Arthur Conan Doyle,
Yes.
which I hadn't really.
Yeah.
Of course, Doyle is an Irish name. As I said to you, elementary. How could I miss that? But but his father was Irish,
Yeah,
right?
and his mother was from
Lismore.
From Lismore, yeah. So she was a Foley of Ballygally, I think is how you say it. There's a connection with Ballylinn as well.
Right.
And Glencairn.
And he took a trip back. He went up the Waterford coast, right, to Ardmore.
Yeah, apparently he came back fairly often with his mother, because basically his father was not the most stable individual in his life.
Okay.
So he got a lot of support from the Foleys in West Waterford. So they would come here, on summer holidays, and there's a legend that he possibly played cricket for Lismore. So there's a Doyle noted. So the real cricket aficionados would say that's not him, because the initial is not the same.
Right.
And of course, as you know, in Ireland, we're not the greatest with documentation and recording things properly. But he came here around, I think it was 1883. So you think of cameras was for the British Photographic Journal. So he basically just did this kind of yacht trip along the Waterford coast.
Really?
So he starts in Waterford City. And I used to work as a tour guide for a while, so I could really appreciate this when the tour guide pointed at a spot and said, this is where Sir Walter Raleigh planted the first potato in Ireland.
Right.
And then I'm pretty sure another tour guide later pointed to the same spot and said, this is where Strongbow first set foot in Ireland. And then he happened to meet someone else, and that person pointed at the spot again and said, this is where Cromwell set foot on his way. So I would contend, don't step on that spot.
Don't step on the spot, whatever you do. But
And isn't it interesting, like we've spoken about this before, but the Cromwell reference there, so many of our sayings come from these historical figures and happenings, like by hook or by crook. Is hookhead and crookhead on the estuary of the River Shore, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm right, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's another one, Bob's Your Uncle, which is Waterford connection as well. Lord Frederick Roberts, who kind of we're reevaluating his reputation now, but he was like a commander of the British Imperial Forces, wiped out numerous villages in Afghanistan, but he I think it was like a nephew of his, if I have this right, was in the army, and they basically said, send a letter to Bob's your uncle and he'll sort it for you.
I see.
Yeah. And there's another one, Kill the Messenger. It was, I'm getting mixed up with my periods in history here, but basically it was a messenger from Waterford who was sent to Kildare to highlight that there was some oncoming siege or group coming to attack, and they killed him. So poor Waterford messenger.
Oh, right.
And that's where the expression came, don't kill the messenger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
so there's a
brilliant,
few.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in a small area, maybe.
Yeah.
That has had such a profound influence on the world and language. And
There was a story as well, wasn't there, about the Cumra Mountain? I mean, we're familiar, of course, with Crotty, the highwayman who lived up the Cumra Mountains. Was there something else about other...
Did I have? Oh, I think that was a book review
Right.
I had in the thing, but it was on the same page that we're talking about the weird, the kind of macabre lovers farewell story.
Yes, this
so,
was a bit of an Ed Gein one, was it?
Very
But
much
I just
so.
watched that on Netflix.
Netflix monster
Can you do an impression?
of him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Mom's upstairs.
Or even just
Mother.
it's like,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Yeah.
But that's a good point, really, because mythology has an influence on culture and language. But a real event or awful happenings, like in that Netflix show, had a profound effect on popular culture.
It did,
because it's referenced throughout that Hitchcock
Yeah.
and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yeah.
and some other films.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs
Yeah.
were influenced by this.
Psycho, all those.
Person.
Yeah. And it was absolutely horrendous. I mean, at a certain point, I thought, God, I don't know if I can watch this. But also quite sad, I think, as well. I mean, that's what you learned, you know, the actual mental illness and schizophrenia and how it impacted on him and the influence of his mother and all of those things. So there was a story you were talking about there. I was going to call you Ed. Cian.
This is getting a bit much now, isn't it?
Cian Manning.
Maybe we need another cup of tea.
Did you see my leather or my human skin jacket?
Check the lampshades.
Oh, stop it.
I stitched it myself.
You have to laugh because it's so horrific. But it was a real life story about and based in Waterford as well. Was it about a man whose true love had died while he was away and she had been buried? And give us the story because I'll get it wrong.
It's from around 1904.
Right.
And it's really prevalent in the local, well, not the local press, I should say, but different syndicated newspapers in the UK, so particularly Scotland and the south of England, really
back in the day,
jump on this story.
Really?
And as I said, it's kind of summer 1904, and we learn about, again, the beauty of these kind of stories is we lack names and specific details, but this young woman dies, very popular in her locality, and she is buried. And it's these typical things, a farm near a churchyard, which, you know, you can really narrow down in Ireland. But one night this farmer can hear kind of noise coming from the churchyard. So he decides in his wisdom to go out and see that he sees this young man digging up the grave, and he pulls her body out of the coffin and he kisses her. And then, of course, the farmer alerts the authorities to say there's something not right here.
After he had been there for a while, obviously, if he waited to see him digging it up and kissing.
It'd be fairly physical work trying to do that.
Wouldn't it?
But apparently when the authorities come, he said, he's supposed to have said something along the lines that they told me I wouldn't be able to get near her, but they were wrong. Ooh. So it seems that this man had left, probably like a lot of Irish people around that time, for work in Bristol, and had, we look, the means of communication is not as fast as it is now, that he only found out subsequently that she had died. And then, like you were saying, the fact it was, he had this sort of relationship, this true love, this pure love, that he had to say goodbye. And this was the only way he could do it.
So what happened to him?
I'm pretty sure he ended up in the local asylum, as they probably would have said. So
That's so like the story,
isn't it? Yeah.
And the Netflix series. There's something in that, isn't there? That these, not that murders or mental illness or whatever, asylums you were talking about there, are occurring. That it's just a human recurrence. But the fact that these stories keep coming out, or we have a fascination, don't we?
Yeah,
we still do.
Yeah, it's like another phrase that kind of came into mind was of Anne Boland, that famous poem, Child of Her Time. And she has a line in it, something along the lines of that we sort of tell tales to distract, but also to protect. So sometimes the reality can kind of be a little bit more horrific than the monster we conjure up, so you were saying earlier, to if you're trying to get a child to stop doing something, it's probably
the boogeyman will get you.
Yeah. Actually, when you were saying the boogeyman there, it reminded me of a story my father used to tell of Dunphy. It's sort of a famous kind of spooky the last public execution in Ballybricken was a man called Dunphy.
Right.
And so we'll go 10 years before the execution. One of his children had died. 10 years later, another child had died, and they thought it looked a bit funny.
Suspicious.
So essentially he'd poisoned both children to claim the insurance money. But he was telling me, like, when he was growing up, if they're like messing. So my father was like born in actually I shouldn't say his age. He's of mature vintage. He was born before Waterford won All Ireland, so you can work that out.
Gives you an idea.
And he said it was always kind of like the boogeyman type thing. You know, it was always, and even this would happen well before he was born.
Really?
But it was just this name that was.
That's what I was saying earlier, that people, you know, there's always that character, you know, in a locality, or the one that'll come back for you. Or, It's terrifying, isn't it?
Well, it's like you were saying, fairy stories that are not even fairy, but, you know.
But there's a great one.
As warnings to children, isn't it?
And here's what's quite indicative of storytelling and ghost storytelling. Things come back to you when you have a congregation of people that start telling these stories. I think it's fabulous, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great night when ghost stories are told, you know.
Yeah.
I was talking about fairies and fairy rings and fairy forts, you know, prevalent in the Irish culture.
Yeah.
They are in Wales.
What is their significance, actually? What is it about the fair? Because I remember that as a child in the Castle Field in Carrick-on-Shore, actually, there's a fairy fort, and it's like a mound, and there's a circle of trees. And I remember that as a child. It was, don't go, and we dare each other. I dare you to go into the fairy fort. So there's all kinds of beliefs and mythology, isn't there, associated with that?
For us, you know, you don't want to step in there because there could be things like curses involved. But there's a famous one from West Wales, Llandysil, 6 miles from where I'm from. And the story's been documented in children's stories, actually, by the famous children's writer T. Llew Jones. And it was of Sean Ivan y Tailwr, Sean Ivan the tailor. And simply, he goes out on the moor one evening and he steps into a fairy ring. And he immediately starts dancing with the fairies. And the dance lasts maybe a couple of minutes in his head. He steps out, goes back down to the village, and a century has passed.
Oh, wow.
So he doesn't know anybody.
It's a bit Tiernan Og.
And exactly, another one. You know, but he goes and he finds the oldest woman in the village, and she remembers the story that Sean Ivan was lost on that night out on the moors. But it's fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, I sometimes look, we've got old trees around us here, and you go, does that look a bit fairy forty?
Yeah, keep away.
Yeah.
Better keep away.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't mess.
I can walk around that, you know.
Or
But
Paula Fuca down the road.
Oh, yeah.
All the stories about the fairies.
Well, Puka is a ghost.
Yeah, but our teacher used to tell us stories about the fairies taking the children and stuff like this down in the
Just what you want to hear in school.
Yeah, we were all like,
the modern fairies just bring you money for your teeth. So there's an improvement there.
Only the good ones.
Yeah.
But coming to that, didn't you say that Cian had a local story here? Something to do with
Naringa.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
That's sort of along the lines
The
of...
mouse that roared?
Yeah, you know how we were talking about sort of isolation can create like creativity and imagination. So it was, I actually have sort of a tangent with this as well, connected to my father.
Right.
That if you remind me of Stanley Kubrick, I'll tell you, because it is true.
Okay.
So there was a man called Leonard Weberly, who was born in Dublin in about 1915. His family moved to Cork, but they actually sent Leonard to school in the Cloister.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book. It was titled The Trouble with the Irish, and then parentheses, or the English, depending on your point of view. And he writes in it about attending the school and talking about being educated through Irish, and this kind of weird sort of juxtaposition between being taught to respect authority by individuals who wanted to overthrow the British crown in Ireland. So the family eventually moved to England, but Leonard has kind of like a patriotic fervour instilled in him from a young age. So when he's doing an art class as a child, a teacher says, be careful when you mix those colours because you'll get a dirty green. And then Leonard obviously becomes green-eyed and his inner Robert Emmet comes out in him. And he says, how dare you? How dare you use that adjective with the colour of my national flag? And about how, now he's probably like 10 or 11 doing this. And he said the worst colour is red. The red of the English and all the blood they have spilled in my country. And the teacher was just like, I was only explaining that if you mix the colours, you'll get a dirty green.
But it triggered something in him.
It triggered something in him, but he had a real kind of nomadic existence. He had journalism sort of as like his main focus. So he actually wrote in California for a long time, but he wrote a series of satirical books like The Mouse That Roared. And it was about this little microstate called the Grand Duchy of Fenwick. Could have that in the wrong order. But there were like 4 or 5 books. And the first one's called The Mouse That Roared. So the mouse is the Fenwick, the duchy. And basically they decide to declare war against America. So if you read the books or you look at the film that was starring Peter Sellers, their armour is like something you see in the Renaissance. Yeah. So they're going to fight the Americans with guns and cannons, and they just have these pikes and swords. And the reason why they want to fight the Americans is they've developed a cheaper way of making wine. So the duchy's economy is based on fine wine, but because the Americans are making cheaper wine, it's basically going to eradicate any money that's coming in. So they hope if they start a war that they could get a peace treaty, and the Americans, judging by what they did in the Second World War, would fund them in the future. So it was made as a film in the 60s, so you had like Peter Sellers in it. But a lot of people sort of view it as a precursor to the Doctor Strangelove movie with Sellers. Because Sellers...
what's his name? The director?
Yeah, Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like Sellers plays 3 parts in both films, and it looks at nuclear proliferation and all this sort of stuff. But with the Kubrick thing, obviously he made a film in Waterford, Barry Lyndon,
of course,
back in the day. And my father worked in a place called Deegan's in the city. So it's, if you know where Boots is in Waterford, that kind of area. It was kind of like a handyman's place. If you had a hole in your shoe, they'd repair that while changing the oil in your car. That kind of place.
We need places like that now, don't we?
We need them back.
So he was working in there by himself one day, and next minute this guy came in with 2 like rapiers, 2 swords, and just planked him on the counter. And he was kind of going, oh, Jesus, like what's going to happen here? So it turned out that they had a fight scene in the film with Ryan O'Neill, and they had to put rubber on the sword, obviously to protect the moneymaker. So my father put the rubber on the sword, and it was used in the film then. So his claim to fame is that he saved Ryan O'Neill's life.
He saved Ryan O'Neill's life. I love it. That's brilliant. Well, look, I mean, God, we could go on and on and on with this, couldn't we? I know.
Sorry. I've been feeling like there's a spider on my neck or something, and I've been afraid to tell you.
It's a spider?
I know.
We started
Is that
off...
Shano singing?
Wished. For quite enough, we might hear it.
It's actually the TV inspector.
We started off with a murder ballad. We might round it off with a murder ballad as well.
Yes.
The 2 sisters.
Why not?
Yeah, Laurie, why don't you pick up your baron and join us on this, will we? Okay, so we've been joined by Benji here to round it off. Cian, your books are I haven't read them, and I'm so looking forward to reading them.
They are advertised as like a sleeping aid.
Stop
If you have trouble,
but where can we? So we have Cian Manning, Waterford City, a history. We have. I was saying, Blah Theorings, Blatherings. And this is the kind of quirky stories, right?
Yeah, so there's actually a little Welsh story in there as well.
Oh, is there?
That's the Welsh
yeah.
story. Tell us that real quick,
It
the Welsh
was,
story.
it
There was
was
a
a-
connection to Dylan Thomas or something?
Yeah, I was thinking of this for you.
Yeah,
It was
go on.
a painter called Edward Moreland Lewis.
Right.
He was from Carmarthen. Hope I
Right,
said that
I'm
right.
from half an hour from Carmarthen.
So apparently he Lochran, is that how you say? Lochran. He did a famous painting of it, but he came to Waterford in the 30s. But he died quite young. He died during the Second World War.
Right.
He worked as a camouflage officer, so he's putting his painting skills
Right.
to the mix. But he died in North Africa. But his best man was Dylan Thomas. Yeah. So if you Google Edward Moreland Lewis
I
and
think
look,
I know the name. I should. I
Yeah.
probably do.
Yeah.
That's a book I'll be reading first then.
So we have our league, which is Waterford and District Junior League, a centenary.
yeah,
100 years of-
it sounds boring, but there's actually a lot of social history in it.
I love
So
that.
there's a good bit about the Irish language and soccer in the 40s. So
Wow.
the junior league was actually known as Cumanpel Fort Larga, and things related to the
Yeah.
church and sport
Yeah.
and
Brilliant.
women's sport and all that sort of stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Fantastic. And this is the first one you wrote, right?
This-
I love me county.
Yeah, I think that was last year.
Right.
Yeah, so you have a picture of Dungarvan on the front.
Oh, that
And
Dungarvan. Oh,
then
it is.
the man in the middle there, Ned O'Baldwin, he's from Lismore.
The boxer.
But he was a boxer. He was 6'6", but he ended up being shot in New York.
Was this the giant? He
Yeah,
was
the
he was
Irish
considered
giant.
The Irish giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They said he was a vegetarian because he came from the land of the Proteas. And he used to be bouts that would go on for hours.
Yeah.
But he never made it in England. His coach was actually a man called Tommy Cooper.
Right.
But he tried to make it in
Just like
America. Exactly, just like that.
Oh, shit.
He was shot. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there are a lot of
It's
happy people.
Some
fascinating.
great history about boxing as well.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
Look, we'll have to
South
have you
Wales
on.
is right for all of that.
We've only touched the surface with all of this. Now, where
Yeah.
can people order any of these?
Yes, so Waterford City History and I Love My County, Love Me County, are both from History Press.
History Press.
Yeah, so they're available in all good bookshops and online.
Yes.
Blatherings is thanks to Mr. Jeff Bezos. Great man. Wouldn't have a bad word to say about him.
Right.
And also available in Dewbray and the Book Centre in Waterford
Centre
City.
in Waterford City.
And then our league is also available in the Book Centre and through the Waterford and District Junior League as well.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Well, what a joy that
Cian
was.
Manning, it's been fascinating. You're just going to have to, we haven't even touched the sides really with so
Yeah.
much.
It's so
of
joyous.
this.
We're going to end with a murder ballad.
Just to cheer everyone, to jolly everyone along.
Happy
Well,
thoughts.
to keep in with the theme, eh?
Yes, yeah, we'll round it off. We started with a murder ballad, we'll finish with a murder ballad. And Laurie, you're going to sing along,
gonna
you're going to
join.
harmonise, are you?
Yes.
And do a bit of Baron? Good stuff.
Okay, so what's this?
There were two sisters side by side, sing I dum, sing I day. Were two sisters side by side, the boys above me. Were two sisters side by side, the old one was to be Johnny's bride. I'll be true unto my love if he'll be true to me. Johnny gave the young one a gay gold ring, sing I dum, sing I day. Johnny gave the young one a gay gold ring, the boys above me. Johnny gave the young one a gay gold ring, and he didn't give the old one a single thing. I'll be true unto my love if he'll be true to me. Johnny gave the young one a beaver hat, sing I dum, sing I day. Johnny gave the young one a beaver hat, the boys above me. Johnny gave the young one a beaver hat, well the old one didn't think much of that. I'll be true unto my love if he'll be true to me. As they were walking by the foamy brim, sing I dum, sing I day. They were walking by the foamy brim, the boys above me. As they were walking by the foamy brim, the old one pushed the young one in. I'll be true unto my love if he'll be true to me. Sister, oh sister, give me thy hand. Sing I dum, sing I day. Sister, oh sister, give me thy hand. Boys about me. Sister, oh sister, give me thy hand, and you can have Johnny and all his land. I'll be true unto my lad if he'll be true to me. Sister, I'll not give you my hand. Sing I dum, sing I day. Sister, I'll not give you my hand. The boys are bound for me. Sister, I'll not give you my hand, and I'll keep Johnny and all his land. I'll be true unto my lad if he'll be true to me. Well, away she sank and away she swam. Sing I dum, sing I day. Away she sank and away she swam. Boys are bound for me. Away she sank and away she swam, till she came to the miller's dam. I'll be true unto my lad if he'll be true to me. The miller he took her gay gold ring. Sing I dum, sing I day. The miller he took her gay gold ring. Boys are bound for me. The miller he took her gay gold ring, and then he pushed her further in. I'll be true unto my lad if he'll be true to me. The miller he was hung on the mountain's head. Sing I dum, sing I day. Miller he was hung on the mountain's head. The boys are bound for me. Miller he was hung on the mountain's head. The owl one she was boiled in lead. I'll be true unto my love if he'll be true to